Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear participants. Thank you very much for coming, for those who are still coming inside. Surprisingly, we are starting exactly in time, and this is the closing panel. Let me first turn your interest or your focus to the statement or appeal, which is a part of this conference. It was announced in the beginning. The QR code should come here, and it will. And that's the statement calling for the release of Aung San Suu Kyi, Nobel Peace Prize laureate in Myanmar, which was again imprisoned 5 years ago after the military coup, when the military realized that democracy is getting too far and that they might lose their positions, which they in one or other way keep for the last 50 years, basically. So please, you can...
Can you hear me well? Is it fine?
You can, yes, we can hear you. Just a second, Maria. You can use the QR code or also go to the web page of the forum. My role is to sum the ideas from the 3 days conference and also to moderate the closing panel. Let me very quickly to introduce our participants. We have online, hopefully, Maria, Corina Machado, the lady which just 4-5 days ago received Nobel Peace Prize, which is fascinating. She's not with us. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria. We will get back to you immediately after a second. Anita Soina from Kenya, which is a founder of the Sonia Foundation and also the member of democracy movement in Africa, focusing very much on youth, and Mantas Adomenas, the Secretary General of the Community of Democracies and also member of the International Coalition for Democracy Renewal. I had a long list of the short messages from the conference, which is interesting, and I divided them to the two parts. The beginning is how to turn resilience into action. I believe that this conference has well shown that we are resilient, that the situation is generally not getting any better. Some of the things very quickly worsen. In some parts, the funding issues we know, unfortunately, 10 or 15 or maybe 20 years, the pure statistics are not positive around the globe, but the resilience is here. How to turn it into action, it's of course a question, and it's a question for each of us, for each organization, each movement, each country, because there is no easy answer, easy recipe which we can use and move the things forward. And I think this is basically the main homework which we are struggling with, how to turn it to action, and also the questions at the end of the session will be focused on that. Czech President Pavel mentioned that the truth will overcome the lies, finally, also thanks to the IT, AI, new tech. Let's hope that it will be moving this way, but it's important to believe into that. By the way, it's one of the things which I think we should remain, that the truth, the life in the truth, to base our actions, communications, explaining on the truth, it's extremely important. And what was, of course, appealing, that China and Russia, which are the main sources of threats and support of the dark side of, let's say, dominating the people, dominating the world, should be defeated on the battlefield, but also through the ideas, not only here and around the Europe, but also in the global South, which is prone of their influences. They are investing huge amounts of money, and it is a real battlefield because it's not easy. With that, let me to turn to our panelists. Again, I would like to give the floor first to Maria Corina Machado with a simple question: how to turn our resilience, and I think she's a living example of what does it mean to be resilient, how to turn our resilience into action, and how she see the chances, the future of Venezuela. Floor
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you. Thank you. I am very grateful and to all of you at Forum 2000, especially to you, Simon, to Jacob Klepal, to my friend Tamara Suhu, to Pedro Ruchurtu, one of my closest allies and members of our team who's present with you today, and of course to Mantas and Anita to share this panel with you. First of all, I on behalf of the Venezuelan people, I want to thank all of those around the world that have been celebrating with us the Nobel Peace Prize that was given to the Venezuelan people, to a society that is determined to live in freedom and democracy, and that has been facing the worst of all tyrannies for 26 years. And it is a proof, it is a testimony, precisely what you said, Simon, how you turn resilience, how you turn this strength, this determination into civic action, into powerful organization that finally ends in victory. And that's why we are, after this very long journey, painful, destructive, on the verge of freedom and democracy for Venezuela. And it is important to understand the kind of regime we're facing. This is not a conventional dictatorship. This is a criminal structure that has turned Venezuela into the sanctuary, the safe haven of the worst criminal networks of the world, that has given our resources, our territory, and even our institutions to foreign criminal agents from Russia, from Iran, from China, from Cuba, from terrorist groups that operate freely, such as Hezbollah and Hamas, to drug cartels and guerrilla that have taken over our territory. And it has turned Venezuela into this hub of criminal operations that spread in the whole Americas, destabilizing the region. In order to do that, the regime needed to divide society on every single criteria. They created barriers to pit citizens one against another, dividing even families, forcing 1/3 of our population to flee. We're talking about almost 9 million Venezuelans, making it the largest migration crisis in the world. And even though they did that and destroy our economy and increase intentionally poverty to 86% nowadays, our people were able to come together around values. On January 2023, we decided to reach out and to empower citizens and to realize we have so much in common. And there is this, main single desire, this gest, which is we want our kids, our children back home. We want our families together. And in order to do that, we need to liberate our country, turn Venezuela in a nation our children will feel proud of. And that's how we first started organizing people in a very critical, dangerous, repressive society for a primary to select the leader, the candidate for presidential elections. And against all odds, we were able to do it. And we won with a 92% of the votes. Immediately, the regime blocked me, and we went out and found someone really courageous to take my place. And against all odds, and even though they told us it was impossible to win, we managed we organized a legion of over 1 million volunteers. We didn't have money, we didn't have media, we have everything against us. But that resilience was turned into action because of love to freedom, love for our country, and love for our family. And we not only won that election by a landslide with 70% of the votes, but we were able to prove it in an audacious, unprecedented operation. In 24 hours, we collected over 85% of the original tally sheets. We digitized them, we put them in a super robust web page, and the whole world could see that democracy, popular sovereignty had won. That was 14 months ago. Since then, there has been the worst repression wave in our country. Thousands that have been disappeared, imprisoned, tortured, and killed. But now we are decided to finish our goal, our task, and we have the support of the international community. We have organized underground tens of thousands of volunteers that defended the vote, now organize using technology, using innovating in communication strategies and protecting each other. And now we need you for this final stage. We need you to trust the Venezuelan people. We're doing what it takes. We have the international community supporting us. And I know that very soon, Venezuela will be free. And after we liberate our country, we will liberate Cuba, we will liberate Nicaragua, and the whole hemisphere, for the first time in history, will be free of dictatorships. So that's what we're facing right now in this historic moment. And on behalf of the Venezuelan people, I want to thank you because this prize is also yours. Thank you very much.
Oh. I must say, what an honor to listen to such words in the first public appearance of a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Maria Corina Machado. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Well, of course, the authoritarians and dictators love to isolate us, because that's the way how to make us basically powerless. The isolation can come through very brutal using of force, scaring the people. We know how brutal was the way in Belarus a couple of years ago. We follow Georgians fighting now. But the reason can be also that we are sometimes a bit abstract. My feeling is, especially us coming from a developed, basically luxury, safe, kind of a bit fat European countries, not facing the daily threats, you know. And I know that Mantas and the Community of Democracies is thinking about that, what we can do to approach the people again and to turn the communication into support and into action.
First of all, it's such an honor to speak after Maria Corina Machado, and I feel humbled, and things I prepared are already sort of looking inadequate, but nevertheless, I have the duty to discharge. And
please.
You know, I remember conversations a year ago in this very space, and the note was sounded that the question of democracy's future is turning geopolitical. In the intervening year, it's not turning; it's turned into sharply, acutely geopolitical issue. So we are facing the issue of the future of democracy as the major and principal geopolitical conflict of our time, and not just years. I'm very happy for your optimism, Madam Machado, and I very much hope that we can start that revolution which will turn back the tide of authoritarianism marching on. But we have to prepare for the long haul, and this is going to be a defining issue, I think, for decades to come. And at issue is what world will we live in. So we have to really understand that the question of democracy's survival and protection and expansion is existential. Secondly, we have to be extremely strategic and ambitious. It's not enough to say your opinion piece in international organizations and prepared promemorias and express and position and watch how it slides into oblivion. We have to look for new solutions. There is no way back to the previous institutional framework of democracy support. We have to establish new coalitions, flexible coalitions, not create new institutions, but actually seek synergies between existing ICDR and Community of Democracies and others present here for common political, very overtly political and brave action to help Venezuelan, to help Belarusian oppositions. So it's not just an ad hoc while media attention lasts after Nobel Prize. It has to be sustained. We have to gear for the long term. And what is long term? We should look at how Cold War was won. I remember talking, I was a 15-year-old in '88, to a dissident who had spent 12 years in Soviet concentration camps fighting for freedom. And I asked him sort of as a timid teenager what his thought about the future would be. He said, look, if everything goes well, if there is no kind of backlash over Gorbachev reforms, then maybe by 2010 we may have a kind of satellite status in Lithuania that, like Poland does now. 2 years later, Lithuania was independent, but the perspective and thinking was that I may not live to see this happening, but I have to fight as though it is the main fight of my life, even though I may not see the victory. And this is the kind of mentality we have to prepare ourselves with. We have to dare to dream of China being free and democratic, Russia being rendered into a confederacy of democratic states. We have to have the courage to dream about the world order where the renewed democratic narrative captures imagination and inspires to create the new order, peaceful, prosperous, progressive order that we stopped dreaming about some 20 years ago. And finally, the main challenge is how to make this narrative capture the imagination of the young generation. I'm sure that Soina will talk more about it, but I see it as a main one, because both in the old democracies, where people know kind of intellectually, but do not viscerally imagine that they can be faced with an alternative, that they can lose what they had, what they assume as air and water. Therefore, there is a quiescence, there is a complacency about democratic commitment, and there is a kind of engagement into radicalism as a sort of recreational drug, because life has got so easy and boring, and as well as elsewhere. So we have to, unless we manage to recreate this democratic narrative for the 21st century, not repeating the old truths, but actually capturing the imaginations of the growing generation, which speaks totally different languages. Yeah. It speaks language of TikTok, it speaks language of Insta, and so unless we manage to speak to them and capture their concerns from globally, then I feel this may be sort of, what Reagan said, we're never more than one generation away from extinction. The freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. I don't want to be that generation.
Yes, me neither. I know that Anita Soina is very much approaching the young people, also coming from the global south, that the youth, it's a majority of population. So my question is, how we can translate it, because it's very abstract, you know, democratic narrative, and also democracy is very connected with the US, you know, policy in the past. So how to translate it that ordinary people will think about that, that they will go for that, that they will at least demonstrate for that, if needed.
Thank you very much. I think I'm going to speak as a young person who not only speaks to the issues of governance in my country and in our continent, Africa, but also as a young person who got to active politics, the murky politics of Kenya, with an understanding that as young people, we don't just need to be left out on the streets, but also to get to these positions and try to influence change from within the corridors of power. And in my engagements at this Forum 2000, one question today in one of our African sessions was raised, and that was, are the youth, is democracy safe in the hands of the youth? And this was preceded by research by Afrobarometer that said that most, I mean, we can see that young people in the continent, my continent, for example, are starting to have these excitements over military governments, something they have never experienced before, but have an excitement towards it. But this is simply because the civilian governments are not serving their interests. And I will take you back to the Kenyan demonstration in the 2024 fight against finance bill, where I participated actively, is that the taxation was just a trigger, but the things that they were discussing on the streets was all about we pay taxes, but our leaders are flaunting, our leaders are living lavishly while we languish in poverty. It was just about governance. It's not like we're not feeling as if we are getting served by the same civilian governments. And this also reminds me that Afrobarometer shared that many citizens in the African continent say that they don't mind paying taxes as long as the taxes work for them. So this really means that the rage and the mindset that we have of young people going to the streets, you know, radical, they don't know what they want, they're just shouting and everything, is not true. You know, and when you look at the African countries that I'm talking about, and the youth space that we have, and like in Kenya, the Gen Z movement has been infiltrated by a political class that really still don't care about addressing the issues of the young people, the issues of the country. But then that brings us to how do we change? How do we turn this passion, this courage that young people across the world are showing into something meaningful? Yep. And in Kenya, for example, the Conrad Foundation, CAS, has a project that is called Manifesto Yetu. Manifesto Yetu is a Swahili word for our manifesto that brings the young people into meaningful spaces to discuss the issues affecting them in a meaningful way, for those issues to be mainstream in the key decision-making places, and also allow for them to become the leaders that they want to see in the world. And another example is the Democratic Solidarity Africa, a program of Forum 2000 that does not separate young people, civil society, politicians. It brings all of us together to agree, to disagree, and come to a common understanding on what we really need to do to make things right.
Thank you very much. We have now really few minutes for panelists to react to each other. So maybe if I may ask Maria to comment it or to ask the questions, if there will be none, we can open it very quickly to public. So please, if you want to add something or challenge or ask your colleagues, there is a space for that for the moment. No, Karl Gershman, it's a special, you know, right to have a question here.
Hi, Maria.
Just a second, we need a microphone. Is there a microphone? It's coming. Yes, it's coming. Just a second, Carl, please. Tariff process.
Thank you. Hi, Maria, and congratulations, Carl Gershman. Remember, 25 years ago, we fought together for Sumite.
Yes, I know. Thank you. What a pleasure to see you.
And now here you are. I have a quick question. Do you think you're going to be able to go to Sweden to receive the Nobel Prize?
That's a good question.
I absolutely believe we'll meet in Oslo. It's going to be in Oslo.
In Oslo. Okay, I'm sorry. Oslo.
In December the 10th. Believe me, Carl, we're doing everything. Our people are committed. And the only way I can be there and meet you all is if we free Venezuela first. And that's precisely what we are dedicated in body and soul. And I believe we will do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is yours. We have space for 2-3 questions or messages. Whatever. Yes, there on the back.
Hello. I am Yvonne Soares, Member of Parliament from Mozambique. I am very honored to see you and to hear all your story. You are a very courageous woman. I am very inspired. And you have to know that in Africa, all of us, we celebrate you. We celebrate your fight. We are together. We love you. Be strong. Be strong. Don't give up. You are the president. And we support you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the voice of support. There is a gentleman at the back.
Hi, Maria. Real pleasure. My question is a bit, I think you have heard the good things, but also the bad things, coming from also critics from the West, saying that this is actually an American struggle to put democracy in Venezuela, and all, I must say, contradictory things coming from you, winning the Nobel Peace Prize, especially in a very delicate moment right now in the world. So I would really like your answer on the critics from the West, from inside us. Thank you.
Sure, I appreciate very much your question. I understand that it's very hard to understand from abroad the magnitude of the tragedy that's going in Venezuela going on. This is a matter of saving lives. We Venezuelans, as you know, have done incredible things using all democratic means. We've gone to 33 elections. They were all fraudulent. The last one, we proved our victory. Nonetheless, by force, they stayed in power. We've gone hundreds and hundreds of times to the street peacefully. And the response have been, they have shot our children, they have tortured, they have detained, they have killed. We have gone to 17 episodes of dialogues. And we have complied. We have given our word and stick to it. And the regime has violated every single thing they had stated they would do. As I say, we're facing a criminal transnational structure. It is a narco-terrorist structure, a cartel that has taken over control and power in Venezuela. The way to stop this is to cut the inflows of resources that come not only from drug trafficking, it comes from the smuggling of gold, minerals, arms, even human trafficking. And what we are asking the international community and Western democracies is to cut those flows. It is inconceivable for us that these resources that come from criminal activities and from the death and hunger of our people end up in Western financial systems. And they looked, and justice in those countries looks the other way. So what we are demanding is you need to stop this, stop the flows that help to support the regime and to put this repressive structure in place. And that is what we're seeing right now. And so this international coalition to stop drug trafficking is one of the demands we have had for years, and it's finally in place. And it is about saving lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very concrete, and of course, each regime needs money to continue with the repression. Same is with Russia and the aggression against Ukraine, which is a kind of the most visible example of evil and violence and force used against the country which tried to live basically better and not in the Soviet styles or post-Soviet styles. Let me to finish the conclusions. There is, of course, note that EU and US partnership should remain, and we should do whatever is possible to keep it on different available levels and connections alive, despite the fact that it's difficult for the moment. But that was the, of course, consensus, because it's absolutely essential for future. However, it's not easy now to sometimes do it and find a way how to do it and so on. The Russia must be defeated and Ukraine must prevail. That's a key thing, key message. If it will, unfortunately, continue like this or happen vice versa, it will be a huge boost to authoritarians, dictators, to violence, it will be crash of the remains of the international order and rule of law. So Russia must be defeated through defense, through support, through sanctions. And important thing, it's also the resilience and defense of all Ukrainian society, because Ukraine is not defending themselves just on the battlefields. Ukrainians are defending themselves, including a huge, I would say, fascinating response of Ukrainian civil society. And for us, this might be one of the sources of the optimism, because the people are resilient, they are brave, they can turn things into action. And if we look around the globe, even in the places which doesn't look optimistic, the people are again and again and again ready to stood up for more freedom, for more rights, and for better governance, for better life. I think this is absolutely clear, and us, from a democracy movements, we should support them. It's not about export or import, it's about supporting the brave people on the front lines of the democracy struggle. I think actions like this conference, different movements meeting each other, also putting together the money for that, hosting the people, exchanges, it's one of the way how to support each other and how to support those who are in non-free, non-democratic countries fighting their own very noble fight. As Maxim Butkiewicz, who was a long time prisoner of war in Russia, mentioned, if we treasure our freedom, we treasure humanity. And I think this is a very nice conclusion. With that, I would like to ask you to use the Slido app, which should be now shown here, slido.com, use the hashtag and forum 2000, and answer the question, what is the one thing you are inspired to do after this conference? Of course, except coming again next year and financially supporting Forum 2000. That's I think, logic, and everyone should do it. So please answer, and I will use the few seconds which remain to thank the panelists, Anita Soina from Africa, from Kenya, the one who deal with the future, deal with the youth, of course, Mantas from the Community of Democracies, long-term project, one of the people who believe that we in Europe are still able to put together enough of experience and energy to continue. And first, but for today, excuse me, the most important, Maria Corina Machado from Venezuela. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and here you see, you know how it works. So, you know, it shows the most important messages, takeouts, the things which the people are thinking about that. So let me to thank you very much for attending Forum 2000. Let me to thank, I am not a member of the forum, I'm just in one of the side boards. Let me to thank everyone who contributed to this year forum, because I found it excellent and in the right time with the right content. Thank you very much, and let's stay resilient together.